Man, so I'm going to talk about relationships, the people that we surround ourselves with. I'm gonna. In a different life, I used to be a police officer, and there was a gentleman that came into our jail, who was so violent that he couldn't be around other inmates. He was so violent that you had to belly chain him, cuff him, and shackle him to take him out of his cell because he would go straight to fighting. There didn't have to be a provocation. You could give him his meal, and he would attack you. He was a mad dog, and there was no logic to it. One time when I was doing my cell check, he was down in isolation, and his name was Twitty, was his last name, and he was singing. And I opened up the tier, and in this part of the isolation in the jail, this is the old jail, it's no longer there. There was only 6 or 7 cells in that part of the jail. It was up in the mental health area.
D-block.
And I was walking through that part of the area, and he was singing. He was the only one in there. It was like a slow season, I don't know. And he was singing, and the acoustics in there, it's just concrete, they're kind of incredible.
Yeah.
And he was singing like beautifully. Like he had the most beautiful voice. It was unbelievable. And I walked down there and I said, "Where did you learn to sing that way?" And he's like, "Oh man, like my mom used to my grandma used to drag me to church, and she would take me to church every day, and I'd sing in the choir." And I'm like, "Bro,
wow,
you went to church? You?" And he's like, "Yeah, I was practicing to be when I was young, I wanted to be, a preacher." And I said, I'm going to start calling you the Honorable Reverend Twitty." And he's like, "Ah, man," and he like a mean language. He was like, "F you," and like going on and on. And I would call him that, and a little bit of sarcasm, right? Because this guy's a mad dog. But the other officers started calling him the Honorable Reverend Twitty. Everybody started calling him that. Other inmates started calling him the Honorable Reverend Twitty. The next thing you know, he's out in general population, and he's holding Bible classes.
What?
Our perspective of who he was changed. I expected him to be a mad dog. I expected him to attack. I expected him to be violent. But when I started referring to him as the Honorable Reverend Twitty, he started to think of himself as
the Honorable Reverend Twitty.
And he started to behave that way, and he started to his behavior, he calmed it down. And I'm not saying this is my fault. It was purely happenstance that it happened the way that it did, but it was such a huge lesson to me to watch this guy who was one of the most violent humans that I'd ever met become this guy that's like, okay, it's time for Bible practice and Bible study. He was out there, and he turned his life around. I would love to be able to find this guy again and see where he was, but he just completely changed because of the perspective of the people he was surrounded with.
Yes.
Now, the point of this story, the moral of the story that I'm going to, is that my job is to surround myself with people who look at me and see me as successful, who see me as great, who see me as the character that we were just talking about that I want to be one day. I might not be successful in the light that I think that I should be successful, but my friend Topher thinks that I'm successful, and he thinks that I can do anything. He thinks that I can accomplish anything that I set my mind to. And because he believes that about me, and I have a ton of respect for Topher, I'm going to start believing that about myself.
Yeah.
It's so very important that you surround yourself with people who believe in you undoubtedly. Like you have no time in your life, boys, to surround yourself with people who doubt you.
Yeah.
And if you find one of those people that doubt you, don't be rude about it. Even family members. I've got family members who are still like, "You're doing what?" I love them. I absolutely love them, but they don't get any of my energy. They don't get any of my words. They don't get any of my time thinking about them, because I need to spend time with people who are going to help me become the frequency or the influence in the world that I believe that I can be when I grow up. Mm-hmm. Reverend Twitty was a powerful lesson because everybody expected him to be terrible. And so he was terrible. He would come into the jail again and again and again and again. And after that period of time, I never saw him again. I don't know where he went. I would like to think that he changed his life because he started to refer to himself as what? The Honorable Reverend Twitty. Not just Reverend Twitty, the Honorable Reverend Twitty. And to see himself in that light. And so when I have people looking to me and they refer to me, I want them to think of Rob, that successful bastard, or whatever it is they want to say. Do you know what I mean? I want to be referred to that way. I want people to look to me and be like, "Well, of course you were successful. Of course your event was successful. You're Rob Adams." And then what do I think? Hell yeah.
I'm Rob Adams.
Hell yeah.
I'm Rob Adams. I can do whatever it is I set my mind to. I'm good at whatever I decide I want to be good at. Whatever the thing is I want to believe. Powerful lesson. And so I want to throw this on the table as a nugget because this is so fundamentally important to the next principle that I want to share with you. But this is a big deal. This is the reason that I'm a part of the American Masterminds. This is one of the big reasons that I'm here, because I'm surrounding myself with good men that I believe in.
I really appreciate that. And, you know,
I really appreciate that. That is a nugget.
Because it works so hard and powerful in the other direction.
Yes.
You can believe that you are powerful and that you can do anything. And if you're surrounding yourself with people that just want to put you down at every flip and turn, over and over and over again, it becomes impossible to keep it going.
Yeah, we'll start to believe them. We'll be like, well, there's more people in my life that believe that about me. Why? They must be right. We internalize these things. It could go both ways.
Right.
It could go both ways.
Go ahead.
No, please.
That's been a hard that I've chosen is the personal growth. And, you know, for a long time after high school or whatever, I just got busy doing my own thing, and then, you know, had some kids, and I didn't have a group of good, solid dudes to bounce ideas off of. So this is a big reason why the American Masterminds is a huge part of my life now. I want to be surrounded by good dudes who I can really, you know, bounce ideas off of, or, you know, it's just
people that believe in you.
Yeah.
Those check-ins. So here's the thing about this is that oftentimes I'll call you and I'll check in with you, but what I'm really saying is I need to be checked in with. And I've talked to you guys about stuff like this. Having that a reliable source of someone that could be like, man, that sounds hard. You know, you seems like you're going through something hard, but then throw it back and be like, have you thought about doing it this way? Or whatever the words are, that is invaluable as men. As we grow older, let me start out. When we're younger, you have a circle of friends that you ride around with in the neighborhood, 10 or 12 guys. And then through high school, you might have 5 or 8 guys that you roll with. But then by the time you get out of the Navy or the Army or whatever it is,
Police Academy.
Yeah, the police academy, whatever your choice is on the things that you're going to do in your life, you're down to one friend. And I would like to believe that after the isolation that we've been going through for the past couple of years, most men are down to 0 friends that they can really call and rely on. Yeah. And when I say call and rely on, it's not like, hey, I need to borrow money. It's not that. It's not it at all. It's the fact that, man, I'm really struggling with my insert problem here. And the person doesn't have to say anything. Just listen. And then I get to verbalize it. And you know what? I process it. And like, I hang up the phone better because I know that you're not going to judge me. Jared, if I called you and told you what's happening, you're not going to judge me.
Absolutely.
Alec, you wouldn't judge me. You would be like, bro, that sucks. What can I do to help you? That might be all I need.
Yeah.
And so as we surround ourselves, like the Honorable Reverend Twitty, with people who believe in us for a second, it can change everything.
Yeah.
Your definition of success will change. Your financial thermostat will go up. Your emotional thermostat will change. Like, I am able to handle more. I'm able to do more. I'm going to dream bigger. If that doofus over there can get away with feeding families, well, what can I do? You know what I mean? Yep. Like, all of these different little things that we are encouraging one another to do, it's endlessly powerful. And so if you're not aligned, men and women, with an organization that is full of like-minded people traveling in the direction that you want to go, you're missing out. Look for the opportunity.
Yeah.
American Masterminds, of course, we're always looking for good people, good men, good women that are wanting to do good in the community, who are on the journey of self-improvement, which is fundamental. But at the end of the day, we want to create a brotherhood, a family.
Right.
And that's what this is about. And so
I feel like a lot of men don't have the capacity to make friends like this. You know what I mean? So,
it's a loss. It's lost. We're isolated.
Yeah.
I think it is in a large way a kind of a cultural or societal thing that has been pushed upon men to not cultivate those skills.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, how much effort does it take to pick up the phone, call someone and say, how you doing?
Yeah.
Nothing.
You good, bro?
Nothing.
Yeah, zero.
Zero effort.
Yeah.
Come on. Like,
Yeah.
But it doesn't
there's
happen.
this and there's even to the point where there's like a stigma against it.
Yeah.
Why are you being emotional, bro? Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Well,
That's ridiculous.
But even at that, I'm with you. Like it seems to be a new phenomenon. You used
no.
Hold on. Okay, because there were places that guys used to do this.
Yeah.
Right. The VFWs used to exist.
The Elks Club. There was like all of these like old men organizations that are obsolete now.
Yeah.
And guys they'd go bowling, the bowling league.
Bowling leagues.
Like
Interesting.
endless opportunities for guys to get together and
they just don't now.
I feel like there are a lot of opportunities out there. I think people aren't seizing them.
I have to agree with you. I feel like the opportunities have shifted. Like if you want to
Right.
be in the RC club, be in the RC
Yeah.
club. But you have to be intentional about it. You can't you can't just sit back and hope to get invited.
But I would push back on the fact that I don't think I think it has always taken that little bit of putting yourself out there to be able to experience that.
Yeah.
You have to, whether it's, go on Facebook, find a group that's around some sort of hobby that you like to do, or find
involved.
someone that you find a rec league baseball team or whatever it is. You got to take that initial, like I'm going to put myself out there. This is weird, uncomfortable. I don't know people. I'm doing something new. You were a major league player, and now it's like, man, rec league.
Yeah.
But your perspective on it is like, this is fantastic. All these people, all these guys I get to play with, I get to do something I love. Once you get into it, all of those perceptions, these misconceptions we have melt away.
Yeah.
But I think that the opportunities are there. They're just in different places now than I think people are used to looking.
Yeah.
And the people are not taking the initiative to go out there and seek them.
But if you think about for men, right, I think it boils down to the fear of rejection.
Yeah.
Okay? If you look at like the whole landscape, think of dating right now. Okay? It is a culture of rejection. It is a culture of ghosting. People don't do so. Eventually, you get hardened to it. Where a lot of guys get caught in this is they're no matter what they do, they're going to get rejected. My fear is that these guys aren't going to show up.
Right.
Right. So the part that you brought up, you got to surround yourself with the right guys. Well, where do you go find those guys?
Yep.
It's impossible.
Well, I would go back to Rob's thought filter here of, is this
100%.
true? Can you do anything about it? And if you can, do something. So
Sure.
is it true that
keep showing up.
is it true that it's impossible to find friends?
No,
with
but
men?
that's how a lot of people feel.
Sure, yeah. But then can I do anything about it? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you can. And then
Because be the guy that
take
shows
immediate
up.
action.
Do it.
Here we are, sitting around a table with 4, 5 fantastic gentlemen and having a conversation that is truly impactful.
Yes.
Yeah.